香巴拉雷达站升起仪式
Here
现在
begins
开
the
始。
flag raising ceremony.
升国旗，
Now
奏
let's
唱国歌。
raise the flag and sing national anthem.
奏国旗。 预备，加油，蹲，加油，站，加油吧，站，加油，站，吧，站。
Salute to the first strike of sunshine. Whenever we step forward, we salute to the progress of the era. Daytime and nighttime, love and beauty, we give our tribute to beauty. And also we salute to youth, life, motherland, and the era, our home country. We hope to deliver a safe piece of land to the common people. That's the value of all the soldiers. We insist on our love and dream. Those faithful people are most admirable. I realized my dream during my childhood. I put on the suit as a soldier, and I never stopped my pursuit. Even if I sacrifice myself, or I put down all I have, including my life, I have to step forward. For my country, for my people, I feel contented. Dear viewers, good morning. I am Wang Shuainan, CMG reporter. Now I am in the 81st segment of the Army. I'm in the camp, and we have a live show about the flag raising ceremony just now. And now we would love to visit this camp. You could see a very magnificent tank behind me. It's called 工程 tank. This is a very cutting-edge technology, so let's invite Lü Zhijun to introduce to us. This is a very impressive tank. Standing so close to it, especially when I touch it, this tank seems to be very magnificent with its huge body size. We heard the name of it. Could you introduce the performance of the tank? Okay. This is a self-developed fourth-generation main battlefield tank. It has three capabilities. First, mechanical moves. Second, defensive power. And also third, fighting power. It is the world-class level tank. So that's really the king in the battlefield. We're very proud of this tank. Yesterday I did some searches, and Gongchen tank has a long history. Could you please introduce to us about the history of this tank? In 1945, in Shenyang, we established such a tank team. And this tank was acquired among 3 tanks in Shenyang. Under the besieging of our enemies, we drove back only 1 of those 3 tanks. This tank used to look very old. And since it is very old, we call it the Gongchen tank. And people used to nickname it as the elderly tank. Because as you said, it was old already when you acquire it, but then through the maintenance, this tank was put into the fight. And how many battles have this tank been involved? Jingzhou fight, and go to the southern part of China for 3 times. And this tank was named because of its contribution to the Battle of Jingzhou. It fought for 31 hours. We maintained it and repaired it during the fight, and finally it left behind a lot of achievements. And the Cannon Army named it Gongchen tank. So it has joined a lot of battles during the Liberation War. And in 1949, what's the role of this tank? This tank was the lead for all the tanks in the parade in 1949. That was also the first time for Chairman Mao to investigate and review those tanks. I could see the edges of this tank. It's like an iron warrior. It's also a very strong fortress on the move. And I can see 3 soldiers standing here. They're the crew members of this tank.
工程号的乘组驾驶员是吧？是的，
Shi Zeling is the 39th driver. The other 2 are the crew members, Wang Jie, in charge of the cannon. They seem to be born in the 1990s. Yes, they were born in 1995 and 1997. So this gentleman is the driver. May I interview you? How many years have you been driving the tank? 7 years.
那您驾驶这辆车就是驾驶咱们这个坦克车驾驶多少
？59 to 998, it's been 7 years. For a usual soldier to become a driver of a tank, does it require skills or some political background? First of all, we must have the political awareness. We must be able to sacrifice ourselves and always fight in the front line and dare to be the first. And second of all, every crew member must endure competitions. Every year, the number 1 champion out of these competitions will become the crew members of the tanks.
谁的成绩能取得综合第1名，谁就有机会成为工程号车组成员。
The driver of this tank is a very important position. Do you feel the pride? Especially when you heard about the news of you becoming a driver. It's an honor, a mission, and a sense of responsibility. This tank has carried a lot of honor from the previous generations, and our troopers have grown stronger thanks to the contributions of the old generation of army men. The spirit has been passed down from the previous generations, and you are willing to carry it forward. Exactly. The previous generations accomplished their missions. Now the baton is passed to me and our peers. We would love to carry forward the spirit of Gongchen Tank so that we can do our due responsibilities to it. So, do you really value this tank? It's like our lifeline. Only when we love our equipment and weapons can we win the battles in fight. Did you dream about driving a tank when you were young? Especially such an honorable tank. My hometown is in Baotou. Baotou is home to 998 tank and a series of other tanks. Also, we have a lot of troops factories. So I was crazy about those things when I was young. And then when I was an adult, I joined the army. Now it's a dream coming true. Yes. Mr. Li, as you mentioned, in 1945, this tank has been seized in northeastern China. Years rolled on. Is this tank upgraded all along? Actually, it's been upgraded for 3 times. From 59 to 99A main battlefield tank, there has been 3 times of upgrading and iteration. So can we say that the new generation of tank must outperform the old ones in terms of their performance? Actually, that's true. There are 3 things about the new generation. For example, user-friendly. It's easy to handle the driving. And also, secondly, in terms of repair and maintenance, since this is an integrated tank, in our maintaining and repairing process, it's more convenient. And also it has stronger mechanical power. You are also a member of Gongchen tank. When were you the driver of this tank? I drove this tank from 2004 to 2017. I was the 36th generation of the crew members for Gongchen tank. And for these three young gentlemen, which generation are they? Shi Ziling is number 39th driver. So you're 36th? Yes.
传承这个下来以后，那时候比方说跟您交车啊，是怎么着？跟您说哪些事儿呢？就说他们是不是特别依依不舍的把这个车交给您呢？
When you get the baton from the older generation of crew members, what were told to you? Do they linger on this tank? Of course, those older crew members must be retired to somewhere else, so there will be such a takeover ceremony. They will usually tell the new crew members about the status quo of the tank, the defaults of the tank, and tears rose up to their eyes when they hand it down to the new crew members. I can feel that the soldiers have a strong bond with the tank. So, were you told to clean this tank entirely? That's true. The 38th generation driver of this tank was retired before, and he specially ran to the parking space to clean the tank for the last time. And we have some models of Gongchen tank in our camp. So when he retired, he cleaned the models again. You just shared the stories about the retirement of some soldiers and how they love this equipment. Have they kept in contact with you, for example, writing letters, or did they ask for the photos of the tanks? We have confidentiality in place, so we cannot give a lot of information. But during the Army Day, like today, many retired soldiers would call us, asking us about the status quo, and also many of our old Army men are now watching the live show right now. Especially the soldiers who have their hearts left in this camp. And also, now those are all of those weapons. I can see the flag in the distance. That is the flag for us. Those are all the cutting-edge tanks. In the interest of time, that's all about my part. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, I am in the Army 81 Group Army flight. They are now investigating in air. This is a very important air force. During the Army Day, this group army has conducted a very important performance in the form of the helicopter performance. That is their way of contributing and also celebrating this day. Me and the cameraman are part of this show right now in the airplane. For the transportation helicopters, they're shouldering the responsibilities of search and rescue and delivery. Now, for this helicopter I am now in, this helicopter will try to shoot down immediately, so it is able to stay away from the enemy helicopters and it can shoot down very quickly. That is a testament of its performance. This is my first time to take a helicopter. Now let's look at the scenery outside the window. We are about 300 meters above ground. I can see very clearly the houses and the vegetation on land. And now the helicopter is steadily flying. All the crew members are ready, on call, and they are well equipped. Speaking of army, people tend to believe that the army fights over the land, but actually it's more than that. The airmen are also important forces for the army. As I said, this group army is an important force for delivery and the anti-tank force. In addition to the flight show of this helicopter, 2 other helicopters will be able to hover in the air at a low altitude. That's a necessity for all helicopters, which means at certain height, the helicopter can contain its direction, and that is called the hover. And then at that moment, it can quickly turn to the targeted destination. Now the crew members have stood up. We are about to arrive at the destination. So we are about to land. Now the door is open. The helicopter is flying slowly. The army men are getting down one by one. Now we can see this is the vigilance line, and they are now fighting and dashing forward. This is my first time to take a helicopter, and also the first time to have this mission. And I can see that the strong wind is an influence over the helicopter. It's like a friction, and then the wind force is all spread out because of the landing of this helicopter. So the helicopter has high performance in order to land steadily. And now let's look at the crew members. They're still dashing forward, and the flight show is still on. So according to the requirement of the army, we must evacuate to a safe place. Just now, we have undergone the exciting performance of the helicopter. Now, we are in a safe place. We will wait here. Once this show is approaching the end, we will have more. Now they are on a return journey. Gradually, the helicopters are landing here, and we would love to present to our guest, Mr. Li Yanxi. We will ask him about his feeling today and the characteristics of the helicopters. Hello there, Mr. Li. Thank you for the waiting. Hello everyone. I am Li Yanxi, the pilot for the 81st Group Army. You are part of this show today. How do you feel? I'm quite calm. And how do you rate your own performance? Full score, 5. If 5 is the full score, I see the helicopter you just flew right then, G10. Could you introduce more about this helicopter? It's a self-developed professional helicopter. It has the pedals in the surroundings. It can carry the missiles, the rockets, and the cannons. So it is equipped with a lot of weapons. And as I can see through the window, the seats are lined in a vertical way. Yes. How many helicopters join this parade? 10 helicopters belong to G10. According to my knowledge, today you will perform a show called flowering. As to the move of the helicopters in the flowering move, turning around is not that difficult for one single airplane, but the difficult part is about coordination between these airplanes. The head helicopter will give the order, and then all the others will follow the instructions. So coordination and harmony are the most difficult ones. We have some clips of that show, and I can see that you're very composed. Since you're very experienced, after all, I started piloting since 2006, and it's been 16 years. I flew for 2,600 hours already. Is that normal? It's just normal. As a witness, what are the changes of this army? When I just graduated, my dream was to drive the armed helicopters. And professional armed helicopters used to be imported from France back then. There were only 7 of them. So I started flying that France imported professional helicopter, and then I turned to G10. It's a self-developed professional armed helicopter. So I witnessed the improvement of those helicopters. And also I flew G20 before. Since today it's a special program to celebrate the Army Day, on your part, what do you want to say to your counterparts? I hope that all my countrymen, especially I want to talk to my army men, that you must be fully prepared in order to safeguard the blue sky of our motherland, and we must fight hard to build the first-class army in the world. That's very ambitious. Thank you, Mr. Li. It's a hot day today. In addition to G10, G9 is also part of the parade in the air show. Now let's take a look. This is a very spacious place, so when they change destinations, it takes time. So in the meantime, now let's watch a clip about the flowering performance by Mr. Li, and I will walk to G9. See you then. I just interviewed Mr. Li from G10 helicopter, and this is my second guest. She is the first female pilot in this brigade. Hello, this is Pu Yuting. Pu Yuting is a very positive girl, and this helicopter right next to you must be your helicopter. Could you introduce the details about it? Sure. This is G95, and it's a self-restored and improved helicopter in China, and it's mainly used for clearing the way and investigating and also fighting. We just now saw a lot of G10 helicopters, but by the appearance, G9 seems to be quite similar, but it's more spacious inside. Yes, for G9, we have 2 seats in parallel, and for G10, everyone has an independent space because the seats are lined in a vertical way. On my way here, I noticed that in this square front, if I stand here looking at this helicopter, it looks like an animal. To some degree, I feel that the rotors are like the big ears, and this is like the tongue of it. So this one looks like the Gundam model, and it looks like an animal. We believe that it looks like the dolphin. Now let's look again. If it looks like a dolphin. What's the responsibility of this helicopter? Investigation. It's an armed investigative helicopter, and it can also fight against some troopers. I did my homework about you. You're very young, but at the same time very experienced. I was born in the 1990s. In 2008, I was admitted into the army, and after my graduation, I used to pilot the 8 helicopter. So what's the difference from the fighter jet and those helicopters? different concepts. There may be some different moves, completely opposite moves. So we have to learn. And step by step, I have to forget all the previously learned moves and concepts and start anew in order to pilot the helicopter. For you, while you change to helicopters, what's the biggest challenge? All crew members must complete the mission in a helicopter, but in the Air Force, I could pilot alone. That's completely different. So right now, to pilot the helicopter, I must be able to give full play to all the crew members in order to accomplish the mission. Everyone must be stimulated. So coordination matters. I previously learned from the publicity worker that in this show, the helicopters in the air must perform in a harmonious way. So this is quite challenging for the pilots in order to show their coordination with others. Are there any remaining challenges yet to be eradicated for you? I changed my position. Now I am the commander in the helicopter. But before that, I used to be the co-pilot. So I'm still adjusting. I'm a new person here. Previously, I could fight alone, but now I have to be able to lead the entire crew. You used to say that once we step into the cockpit, we're all the fighters. There is no big difference. I could feel your ambition in that word. What inspires you? People used to say that the pilots must be brave because we must be mentally strong and we must be courageous and also decisive. We must have a psychological strength, and in our exercise, we must be tough in order to accomplish the instructions given by the superiors. Once I got in contact with this brigade, I saw the words called 向战惊飞 in Chinese. This must be prevalent in your daily lives. What's your understanding of that slogan? It's a basic requirement of all pilots. In our exercise, we must be very demanding of ourselves, just like in the battlefield. We must improve our skills. Since our show today is a special program for Army Day, it's your day today, so happy Army's Day. And on your part, what do you want to say to the viewers watching our show right now, including your Army men? Happy Army's Day, and I hope you safe and sound. Safe and sound, simple words, but very emotional. You must feel a lot, because after all, for the pilots, you fly every day. You must be under huge pressure. Maybe you endure higher pressure compared to the other Army people because you're always in the air. It's risky, of course, but with our exercise, we can diffuse those risks. Thank you, Yuting, for this interview. Yuting is very slender, but she harbors great power. She said that every challenge can be eradicated through exercise. And we witnessed this flight show, and we interviewed two pilots. This air show is to celebrate the 95th PLA Memorial Day, and it's their way to give their best wishes to their army men. Also, the family members of the army men were invited to this camp so that the family could get to understand about their family members and could feel the power of the army and the tough stance of the army men. We also want to give our gratitude for the family members for their long-term company. Because of the army men, we could have such a safe life, but behind the army men, the family people have been with them to support them. So happy Army's Day to the army men and also to the army men's family members. Thank you very much. And our special program will bring you to more camps to learn more stories. Good morning, everyone. I am Luo Pingzhang, the CMG reporter. I am now by the ocean, and this is also the exercise place for the Navy. There are 9 tanks here. As you can see, those 9 armored cars are lining in the shape of August the 1st in Chinese characters. So since today is the Army Day, best wishes to the Army men. You must be curious about this parade. This is my first time here. To have this opportunity, to have the visit, I have invited a guest with us, Mr. Ho.
您好，先向我们的镜头打个招呼，介绍一下您自己吧。
央视新闻的网友，你们好，我是海军陆战队
Hello everyone.
车车长。
My name is Hou Yulong.
班长您好，我们看到这个大型的地面装备啊，感觉就是近距离的观看是十分的震撼。能不能先请您给我们介绍一下这个装备是什么样的装备？
好的。
Could you introduce to us about the equipment?
我国最为先进的
This is the amphibious armored vehicle. It can fight in the ocean and also in the land. I can see 9 armored vehicles. They look quite similar, but actually they belong to a different series. Yes, the main difference is about the weapon system and the people on board. What's the difference about the weapons? This is 05 series of armored vehicle. What about its equipment? It's equipped with 105 mm cannon, and the other one is equipped with the laser cannon. What about the crew members? The assault vehicle has less crew people. It can accommodate only 4 crew members. But as to the other series, it can accommodate 12. The infantry vehicle must be able to carry on some infantry soldiers. So the amphibious vehicle must be able to shoot both in the land and in the ocean. Now those vehicles look quite similar to the tanks. How do they change to be the vessel in the ocean? The captain and the pilot will control the hydraulic pressure system to change this vehicle. Will the appearance change as well? Yes. Could you show us? Of course. Two cannon people and 1 driver is now on board under the instruction of Mr. Ho. The panel in front is slowly opening. With Mr. Ho's gesture, this board in the front is entirely open right now. And the board in the end is slowly opening as well. So now it's changing to a vessel. I see the 2 boards in the front and in the end. What's the role? The 2 boards can offer the floating coefficient so that the vehicle can float in the ocean. Sometimes there might be strong winds and waves in the ocean. Will the board defend against the strong waves? Of course. To navigate in the ocean, what's the performance of such armored vehicles? The highest speed could be 25 kilometers per hour. What's that level compared to the speed in the land? 65 kilometers per hour in the land. I believe this vehicle must have a strong performance in terms of the coefficients. I see your gestures right then. I can see you raising up your arm and putting down it. What does it mean? If I have my palm up, it means to let it down. And do you use gestures to give orders? We will use the gestures. Are there commonly used gestures to show us? These are my fists. It means loosen the belt.
可以给大家看一看啊，我们现在这一辆2栖装甲车的履带是在侯班长的手势下，就是有一个逐渐松的一个状态，就是向内是履带松是吗？是的。那应该向外就是履带紧。向外是履带紧。哦，现在感觉跟我们这个平常这个可能直观上一个直觉上好像不太一样。您能不能通过一套手势来给我们
Could you use the gestures to show us how this armored vehicle is changed? And I can learn from you. With the left arm spread out, and the big thumb is pointing up. and that means
那我们可以看到啊，就是侯班长的这样一个手势下，前部的
they're
车
lowering
身是
down
缓缓的
the
降低
front
了。
of this vehicle.
那下一个
就是右手
And then
提升之后，大拇指向上，后旋收。
后旋
spread
收
out your
好的
right arm,
好，
and the back end of this vehicle is lowered down.
现在随着前后部的车身啊缓缓下降，现在这一辆装甲车是更接近于
Now
一个
this
船
vehicle
的
looks
状
more
态
like a
了。我们
boat.
可以看到，可以镜头给到我们的这辆装甲车。跟刚刚相比呢，整辆装甲车是整个它的车身水平面应该是降低了不少的。
The height of this
像这
vehicle
样一
has
辆
been
车身刚
lowered.
刚应该有近3米吧？现在这个状态
I
应该
believe
就
it must be
是
3 meters
2
high
米左右。
previously, but now
3米出头。
2 meters?
那像我们的
Actually 3
装甲车
meters
在
right
海
now.
上，一般是如何搭配作战？
How do you fight in the ocean?
在海上的话，
在演练中是怎么样一个训练？
通常我们都是担任一个首播的任务，
首播的任务，什么叫首播？
就是在海上的话，我们通常搞训练以这个边播和这个基础驾驶为主。在边播训练的时候，我们通常在整个
When we
战斗的
fight
第一梯队。
in the ocean, we must dash in the front in order to fight against the waves. Thank you, Mr. Ho. We now can learn that the Marine Corps is doing the exercise right now, and we have videotaped a clip. Now let's watch the clip. I am Suan Yang, the CMG reporter. The Marine Corps is exercising. Their amphibious armored vehicles are now trying the waters. The objective today is to check the fighting capacity of the Marine Corps. They must change their shape and shoot, and the crew members must receive orders from above to exercise their coordination capacity. The armored vehicles are now driving forward to the designated destination. In the ocean, there might be some requirements for them. While navigating in the ocean, the instructor will judge the status quo to give instructions. They will use the radio to give instructions so that the vehicles could change their positions, and the single vehicle must be able to change the direction with the coordination of crew members, so that between the two vehicles there will be a certain distance. If there is anything wrong of the vehicle while driving in the ocean, they will be repaired by the shore. The Marine Corps is continuing the exercise. Through our camera, I can see the strong waves. It's always changing in the ocean. So, to control the water flow, the armored vehicle must be able to have 3 thrash forces, and the driver must be very skillful. 05 IFV and the 05 assault vehicle are involved. They have strong fighting power and also defensive power with the armor.
央视新闻的各位网友，您现在看到的画面来自粤西某海域，现在海军陆战队某旅正在举行滨海实战化训练。有人好奇，在装甲车上是配备了什
You
么
might
样
be
的通
curious
信系
about
统？
telecommunication system on
现在
board.
看到的这2种车型的通信系统也是比较先
It's
进
very
的。
advanced.
有电台、北斗定位导
For
航等系
example,
统。
GPS, Beidou system, and the radio system.
整个装备信息化、自动化水
The
平也是比
vehicles
较高，
have high
可以
level
在和
of
生化等条件下
telecommunication.
具备一定的作战能力。央视新闻的各位网友，我们现在看到的画面来自粤西某海域，现在海军陆战队某旅正在举行滨海实战化训练。我们现在可以看到，装甲编队在抵达
The armored vehicles have arrived at the destination, and now they are shooting together.
现在我们可以看到的画面是在火力的掩护下，陆战队员搭乘冲锋舟
And the Marine
实施抢滩
Corps
登陆。
are getting on shore.
After
getting ashore, the Corps members are dashing forward towards the destination against the firepower.
“乘风破浪，勇往直前”，这就是中国海军的气势。
The Navy's spirit is to go forward against the waves. Welcome back. I am Luo Pingzhang, the CMG reporter. We just watched how those armored vehicles are exercising. Of course, there are a lot of other weapons here. Now there are 6 to 7 different weapons placed on the table. And also I've invited Tian Maini from the Marine Corps to introduce about them. Hello, I am Tian Maini from the Marine Corps.
谢谢田班长。那因为我完全是一个枪械小白，我
I
看
am a
到这里
layman
这个上
of
面写
those
着一个狙
weapons.
击枪，我大概也就能分得出这个狙击枪跟手枪的区别。那
This is a
先请您给我
sniper
简单介绍
rifle.
一下吧。我们这里我看到这里有非常多的种类。
Could you introduce more about them? This is 1C1 high precision rifle. It can rotate, and also it has a distance measurement capacity. It can shoot for 800 meters, and within 300 meters it can shoot at the hand at the head, and within 100 meters it can shoot at the eyebrows. There are 5 bullets in it. So the shooting distance is 800 meters. It's a high precision rifle. Now there are no bullets inside. So this is the mirror. This is the sighting telescope, and it's a 15 multipliers sighting telescope. Is it heavy? It's 6.5 kilograms. Can I weigh it with my hands? Go ahead.
确实是我这个手确实都完全没有办法把这个枪
I cannot even
尤其是这个平
put it up.
应该它这个一般是一个支架的这种设计的。
So usually it's placed on the stance. Yes, it's heavy. So there are 3 positions to operate it. For example,
好的好的。
you could choose to lower down your body. For example, you can use your right hand to hold this gun, and also the rifle is against your shoulder, and your left hand is put on your right arm. Have a try.
试一下，看我学的姿势是否标准。目前的这个高度呢，对我也是差不多。
The height is good for me.
左手在枪托底下。我通过这个高倍镜都能够看到
Through the telescope,
风电的
I can see the wheels on the opposite hill.
那我们再往这边看一看吧，这里这个种类还非常
There are
多。
so many varieties of weapons. Could you introduce to us about them?
这个是我们的霰弹枪，
霰弹枪。
对，然后微声冲锋枪
That is
微
the
声手枪
grape
匕首
shot
枪
gun,
这个是水下手枪，这个是水下步枪。
and
我其实看到霰弹枪，但我
these are the rifles underwater.
霰弹枪啊，霰弹其实是一种什么样的弹？
We must have heard a lot about the shotguns. What's special about it? The bullets are different from the usual bullets. It's in cylinder shape, and it contains the gunpowder. If the bullets are shot, they will be sprinkled in all directions. Could you show us about this knife? It's a knife and a gun as well. So, in the short distance fight, it can hurt your enemy. And if necessary, it can also fight with a distance of 10 meters. You can see the holes. Those are for the bullets. By the look of it, it's just a simple knife. It doesn't look like a gun. Where is the trigger? It's over here. You can push it in order to shoot the bullets. Can the 4 bullets be shot altogether? No. There are 2 other guns here. They look different from the others. That is the rifle under the water, and the bullets are specially designed. Take a look. It's very big, and the bullets are about 15 centimeters. So this long? Yes. We have specially designed the shape of the bullets because of the high resistance under the water. It's thin and long. In that way, under the water, the resistance is controlled, and the bullets can shoot steadily. What about this rifle under the water? It's 4.5 mm bullets, and there are 4 bullets inside. You just mentioned about strong resistance under the water and the special design of the bullets. So what's the shooting distance under the water? It depends on the depth of the water. For example, at 10 meters below the sea level, then the range is about 14 meters to 18 meters for the rifles. What's the usual water level? 5, 10, and 20 meters. And for rifles, they can shoot for 20 and 40 meters deep under the water. So what's the range in the land? When necessary, those rifles can be shot in the open air, but usually we use it in the water. Thank you for the introduction. Is this a diving suit? Hello there. I am from the Marine Corps. My name is Zhang Kai.
张凯班长您好，这个我看到这一套这个潜水服，应该是属于我们蛙人部队的一套作战服。
So this diving suit must be worn in the fight. It's usually worn in our exercise.
这是一个潜水衣。
这个是一套潜水服，然后它这个主要分为2种。
There are 2 types of the suits. One is dry, the other is wet. This is the
湿
wet
式潜水服，也就是说它
diving
可能
suits,
防水
which
不是完
means
全
it's
防
not
水的
entirely
它主要起到的作用
waterproof.
是防止我们身体表面的热量减缓流失。
保温的
It
效
is
果
like an
对，
insulation,
还有一个就是防
heat
止使用生物
insulation,
灼伤或者是划
and
伤
also
作用。
it can protect
保
us
护
against
人体的
any
一个效果
scratches.
那我们看到这里应该是一双潜水
These
靴
boots
和我们的脚蹼是搭配使用的吗？这
must
两
be
个
worn
因为这
together
个我们所使用的这个
with
脚蹼
the
是
flippers.
动力蹼，脚蹼也是分
There
为
are
两
also
种，
two types
一
of
种是休闲
flippers.
活性动力蹼，像这种动力蹼，它这个材质跟相比于这种休闲脚蹼来说，它这个材质比较坚硬，但是它动力比较
This
强。
one is tough,
还有一个
but it
地
has
方
strong
在我们打
dynamics.
脚蹼的过程中可能会磨脚，所以穿这种潜水鞋的话，这里用
And if we
胶的
only
作用
wear the
可以保护我们的
flippers,
脚背，防止磨伤。
可是
we
颠一
might
颠大概有多沉？
grind our
蛮
feet,
沉
so we
的
wear the
这个
boots.
单手颠起来，
It's quite heavy.
就是这个蹬水应该是蛮累的，对吧？这
It
种小
must
众
demands a lot of
那像我
strength.
们这里应该是这一套是潜水背心
Yes.
还是
对，这是我们的 BCD。
This is
叫
VCD.
背心。
浮力背心
对，
提供一个浮力的一个作用。
对，
It's
在水下的时候
floating
为我们潜水员提供一个水下
under
的浮力
waist.
作用，然后也可以在水下根据我们自己的需求
It
调
can
整
offer the
水下的浮
float
力。
to
我看到这里
the
有一个非
divers.
常有趣长的，
This one is
我不知道这是干
interesting.
什么用的？这个小小的铅块，哎，还挺沉的。这个是
It's
做
quite
什么的
heavy.
这个是我们的潜水压签，
This is the
可以
lead.
和我们的 BCD 使用，因为在水下的时候我们穿的
Since
潜水
we
服
wear the
是有浮力
suits,
的
the suits
然后这个时
can
候我们
offer
身
the
体
floating
需要
power
一
to
个正
us.
浮力，需要给我们的身体配重，
We must
然后到
carry
一个
more
浮力，然后
weight.
再用我们的接住我们的 BCD
And
来
then with
调
the
整我们的身体。
VCD,
也就是
we
说我
can
们下
adjust
沉
the
的时候是
floating
需要一
force.
个这个加
So
重的
when
一
we
个
are
效果
going
然后
down
通过
into the
调整
water,
浮
we
力可能
need
来保
such
持稳定
lead
是吧？这个大概有
to
多重啊？这个
push
铅
us
块
down.
小的
也
What's
分
the weight
这
of
种
it?
大概3斤左右，
3斤，
3
最
G.
大的
What
呢
about the bigger
大概
one?
6斤左右。
6
还蛮
G.
沉的。那像这套应该是装在这个背心上的一个
This must be equipped on top of the vest. That's the respirator system. The high pressure air will be changed to low pressure air
就是我看到这里有一个
through
呼吸
those
头
pipes.
是它通过这个来连接氧气瓶吗？
Is this connected with the oxygen bottle? Yes.
然后这是我们的
And
呼吸
this
器，
is
这是我们的备用呼吸器，
the ventilator,
然后
and this is the backup
我们
ventilator.
叫3连表，然后一个是支北针，也就是我们的陀螺仪，这个是我们的潜水深度表。
可以给大家展示一下。这是对
These
一个
are the meters,
陀螺仪、
对，这是我
指
们的
北针、
潜水深度表。
the
潜水深度就
gyroscope,
显示我们现在目前的
and this
深度
one
是吧
meter can show the depths of the diver.
因为我们每次潜水
After
完之后
diving,
出水之
before we
前
go out of
要
the
设定一
water,
个减压的
we
过
must
程
reduce the
需要根据
pressure.
我们的潜水
So
深度
based
来
on
调整
the
我们的
depths,
减压时间。
we
最后
will
一个表
readjust
是
the
最后一个表是
pressure
我们的潜水
reduction
气压
time.
表。
气压表。
对，这个表是因为连接我们的气瓶，可以显示我们
And the
那个
last
气瓶内
one
所受
is
的
the
气压。
barometer.
啊，这个表可以说是这个我们的生命计时器
Those
了啊
meters
这个
are
气
like
压显示我们的
the
氧
timer
气瓶里
for
面
our
的
life.
容量含量
They
剩下的氧气
measure
还有多少
the
我给大家看看
oxygen
这里有一个
level
氧气瓶啊
and
这重吗
others. Now let's look at the oxygen bottle.
是我们的12升铝制
It's
气瓶。
12 liters.
确实蛮沉的。这
It's
整
pretty
套
heavy.
整套的潜水装备应该上身都会非
If
常
you
重吧
wear the entire equipment, it must be very heavy, about 30
30斤这个也得有
kilograms.
10几斤。这个沉这么沉，在水下怎么能够进行一个移动？
How do you
这个整套
move
装备
under such
因为
weight?
在水下涉及到水下是水中是有浮力的嘛，
Under the
所以
water,
背上这个装具的时候，
there are
我们
strong
的
floating forces,
在我们
so
移动过程中其实非常方
with
便
those equipment, it's convenient for our move.
像蛙人运载器啊，或者其他一些
We have some other
水下的
tools.
运动工具，也可以对我们
Those
潜水员
tools
达到一个
can
辅助的作用。
support
特
the
别好奇，我
divers.
能背得上这个氧气瓶吗？我能
Can
背
I
得动
bear
吗？
this oxygen bottle?
因为我听着这个重量啊，我觉得我可能可以，但是我特别好奇，我能不能背动这个氧气瓶儿？现在它是一个装满气的状态。
Is it full of oxygen? Yes.
它在这个满气的状态下，一般能够支撑多少？
How long can it sustain
看一下也根
if
据任务
it's
区分吧
fully loaded?
有的时候可能如果
It
涉及到
depends.
这个活动量比较大的话，它的气相用的相应就比较
If
快。
there is strong
一般正常情况
activity,
下
it's very quickly consumed. Usually it can last for 60 to 80 minutes.
左右。 巨大的挑战。这个氧气瓶背上之后，如果它这个气体已经用的差不多，是不是会轻很多？
If the oxygen is consumed, this bottle will be lighter. Yes.
把这个麦克风放到旁边。我现在来感受一下这个氧气瓶上升究竟有多重。
Let me try it on.
谢谢。这目前先把这个前面的几个扣带系紧。
Let's fasten the belts.
我现在已经能感受到这个它的这个分量了。
I can feel the heavy
虽然不
weight.
至于说不能抬不起脚，
I
但是
can
移
move
动确实
with
让
it on,
我想到了一个
but
词，就是
it's
举步
really
维
hard.
艰。好，谢谢那个张凯
Thank you,
班长
Zhang Kai.
那个给我拖下
Can
来
I
一
take
下
it off?
就是这个程度，在水下可能会稍微好一些，但是确实单这个氧气瓶已经是这么
The
沉了。
oxygen bottle is heavy
我
enough.
能够想象到，就是
let alone
我
all the
们
other
队员呢
equipment.
已经进行潜水训练，这个身上的负重确实是不少。那谢谢张凯班长。
Thank you for your introduction. I have one more little
我们这
question.
个潜水的训练一般是怎么
How do you
样
exercise diving?
潜水训练也分为好多种，可能初期的话
In the
是设置
beginning,
一个定向潜
We
水
have a fixed
到后
direction
期可以
for the divers.
根据我们的任务
Then,
区分
based
程
on
度
the
来
actual
有一些
tasks,
水
there
下
will
搜
be
索啊
underwater
水下海豹啊
search,
或者是一些
explosion,
搜救之间的一些训练。
and
像您一般
rescue.
这个潜水最深能有多
How
深？到
deep
最
can you
多深
dive down?
以我自己的经历的话，最深可能也就潜到30
I
米
can
左右。
dive
30米，那已经非常
for
厉害
30
了。
meters under the water.
像这样的潜水，
That's
水
cool.
下环境应该是非常复
The
杂的。
environment under the
对
water must
经
be
常
very
有可能在水
complicated.
下一个比较深的
So,
能在观看在能见度
what about
方
the
面都有
visibility?
问题像这样的装备怎么
It's
能
very
够适合我们
hard
潜
to
水？
see under the
因为在
water.
水下本来这个水下能见度比较低
It's cold under the water
我们所
usually,
使用的所有的气压表都是有这个夜光
and
另外，我们在水下也会借助一些其他器材
the meteors we
水下
use
手电，包括一些其他的
usually have the luminous function, so we can see clearly under the water.
任务。
高科技装备的加持。
So you have the
谢谢您
support
的
of
介
high
绍。那我们看到
technologies.
不远处啊，
Thank
也
you
是
for
有
the
我们
answer,
的陆战队
and
队员
our
们正在进行
Marine
一个训
Corps
练，我们
members
现
are
在去看一下
exercising.
吧。谢谢
Now
张
let's
班
have
长
more look.
那我们请曼妮班长跟我们一起到
Mani
这个
will
岸边
accompany
啊
us
就
to the
是
shore.
我看到那边有一个正在进行海上训练的一个
It's
项
an
目，是吗？
onshore exercise.
现在不是我们是滨海实战化训练阶段嘛，然后在海上的科目肯定是最多的，也是最主要的。
The
然后
onshore
另外的是
exercise
超滑
is
舟
the
就是
most
那边看到
important.
那一组是超滑舟
They are
训练
rowing.
就是我们它有两种方式，就是有一种是那个操舟机嘛，直接开机器。
We have the
那这个的话
automatic
是我们利用那个
way as
桨
well,
自
but
己
this
划
one
出去的。
is about
那
pedaling
今
by
天的浪其
themselves.
实也是不小的，就是
Today
要
the waves
这个
are
船要
strong.
划出去应该还是十分
For
困难
them
的
to truly row
对，
away, it
相比平
must
时的话，今
be
天的浪还
difficult.
相对小一点。
Yes.
是吗？
对。
那还有我们看到这个岸边啊，还有是女队的
I
队
can
员们
see
吗
some
是我们
ladies.
战士。
他们正在进行一个什么样的训练？
What are they
把这个
exercising?
舟再翻过来，
They're flipping
翻
down
覆舟的
the
训练。
翻
boat.
覆舟训练。
Yes,
因为在海上的话，
that's
如果
an
说那个
exercise for
深海
them.
边啊或者是在潜伏渗透的过程中，它可能在接近海面或者近敌
When
的
they're
时候，可能我们
approaching
就
the
要
enemies, we
立马
must be
的话
able
可
to
能
hide
把舟
ourselves.
翻过来，然后
So they will
也是
flip
藏在隐
the
藏在那个
boats
舟底下
and then
所以说需
hide
要
behind
有
the
一个这样的
boats.
训练。
That's
就是把舟翻过来，然后人藏
the
在
story
里面
about
对
this
这个是海滩
exercise.
的一个那个就是最开始的一个练习，然后在海上也有练习。
And they will also
像这样的
exercise
这样
on
的训
shore.
练项目，我看到就是这是一个就是兼具体能跟这个战术要求的这样
Such
一个训练
exercise requires both
体能的话
strength
是
and
最基本的
tactics.
对我们来说。
That's
我
the
特别好奇
basics.
啊，陆战队这个对体能的要求有什么及格线吗？是不是要求特
Do
别
you
高？
have very high requirements of strength?
最基本的就3公里吧。我们女兵一般
For
是
the
3公里
ladies?
她轻装的话是分
水
别定段。
上的3公里，
The
水上
threshold is
是
3
水上
kilometers.
是一般5公里左右。
Under the
水
water.
就是
游泳
水下
I
的
mean
这个
swimming.
游泳5公里，3公里是指那个
Sorry, 3
陆上的。
kilometers is the threshold
那我
for
看
the
这个女
land,
队的队员们
and
一直在
5
就不停
kilometers
地
is
翻
the
来
swimming
就是不停地
threshold.
重复同一个动作。
They
对因为
keep
我们现
repeating the
在
same
主要是
moves.
有
There are some new soldiers joining us. So, the new soldiers must repeat the exercise and coordinate with the veterans. There are several people on the boat. I saw 6 of them on shore, and for this team, the ladies working 3. Is such teamwork more difficult? Yes, teamwork is paramount for the fight. Unity matters. I believe they must use equal strength when they are pulling the ropes. If they have uneven strength, the other team members will carry more pressure. So do you usually exercise on the beach? Yes. Are there any strength-related exercise? We run, and we also work out with the instruments. Can we find a newly joining soldier? The youngest one is born in 2002. They look pretty young. My name is Zhou Hua. I come from Guizhou. 六盘水. How old are you? I'm 20. How long have you joined the corps? I joined the corps for less than 1 year, 10 months actually. You were just then exercising. Are you accustomed to it? As a PE student, I feel that every exercise is a challenge to me. You just mentioned that you majored in PE. And now you work in the Marine Corps. You have to fight either ways. For example, you have to be able to fight in the mountains and into the water. In the air, 3, 7, and 10 meters exercises are common. And I'm very excited exercising. It's just like playing the basketball. When I play the 3 meters and 7 meters, but at 10 meters, it's so high. And I was questioned, can I do it? And then I thought about 2021 when I firstly joined the Marine Corps. And the slogan said, we are never afraid of the hardship and death. So I said I can, and then I jump at 10 meters height. I also learned from the veterans. They are never afraid. 3 meters and 10 meters, it's no difference. They never hesitate. You're quite brave and passionate. Today, it's the Army Day, and you're stationed here for 10 months, so this is your first Army Day. It's quite special. What do you want to say to you and your peers? I'm honored to be here. And as to the comrades, no matter where you are, we shoulder the same responsibility. Happy Army Day. And I hope that the Marine Corps will be only stronger. Thank you, Zhou Hua. Happy Army Day. So today we witnessed the high-strength exercise and different weapons with such intense exercise and with the support of the technologies and with the face of the soldiers. We can have stronger army. So happy Army's Day.
央视新闻的网友，大家好，我是
Dear
央视
viewers,
新闻
I am
的记者
So Mingyi, the CMT reporter.
到了空军航空兵某旅的停机坪。今天呢，这里是一个
Today it's a flight exercise day. Behind me, the crew members are now checking the airplane before the flight. For you to better understand the preparation and about the stories of the Air Force, we have invited a pilot, Wang Tianwei, with us. Hello. Hello everyone, I am the pilot Wang Tianwei. For your information, Wang Tianwei has no mission, so I can invite him for the interview. This is CGTN. This is your airplane? Yes, it's an independently developed third-generation fighter jet. It can shoot in the air and attack at the air, the ocean, and the land. I feel that J-10 is quickly responsive and has high performance of flight. I can see the crew members are maintaining the airplane before the flight. As a pilot, if you are on a mission, what are the checks you need to go through? It requires courage and delicacy. We must have massive examination of the airplane. I can show you roughly. We started our examination from the head. We must check every airspeed head holes to see if they are obstructed. This is the air inlet. We check if it's distorted, if there are some foreign matters, or if they are injured. Many crew members are examining. Some are examining the undercarriage, some are checking the pipes. This is the end of the airplane. What would you examine? For example, the parachute. I hear the alarm sound frequently. What's that for? They are chasing the birds. That's very dangerous for us. This is cable to let go of our static power.
大家看这里也是有一个放电刷的。
我还观察到，你看咱们地上有很多这样的很粗的管子，你看这儿有一根比较粗绿色的。
I see some green pipes. What's that for? It's connected with the air conditioning vehicle. But the air conditioner is not to cool down the cockpit. Instead, it's to cool down the equipment inside the airplane. There is another cable that's for the power on and off. So we must be very careful before the flight. It's becoming more noisy. Look, he's getting on board, ready to fly. This airplane is initiated. It's very noisy outside. What about in the cockpit? In the cockpit, the pilots can hear nothing. We will close the door, and the pressure is raised, so the noise is eradicated. What are the priorities of the flying exercise? There will be some real exercise to fight against the land and in the air. In the new era, under the leadership of the CPC Central Committee, we are heading towards the goal of building up our Air Force. We must conquer all difficulties in all disciplines. We must be able to respond to any threat in the air and to fight in emergencies. We have been improved in such exercises. In the future, we will continue to be fully prepared and fix it on our enemies. We will keep improving our handling capacity in emergencies, especially in the air attacks. We're always ready. Once a threat comes in our way, we're able to fight it. In addition to the flying exercise, what other contents are involved? There will be some mock exercise as well. We have a very advanced mock center. I will show you there. What do you exercise in the mock center? There are all sorts of equipment. You can set up the equipment to be in emergency mode. Because of confidentiality, some contents are not open to the public. Some comrades are not exercising. I can see the controlling system and several screens. What can you do? With this platform, we can hone our experience. They are very real. It can help to shorten the training period. Our principle is that we must improve our fighting capacity in the mock exercise. They are highly simulated. It will pave the way for our real exercise. It helps to improve the efficiency of real exercise. So mock exercise is a very important supplement. I will visit the museum. It records the history and the stories of our ancestors and our achievements. We were born in the fire, and we participate in multiple battles. For example, the war against the US to protect the North Korea. Because of the achievements we made, we are called the Tiger Team. 蒋道平、韩德彩、吴胜凯 and other heroes are well known. For example, Han De-cai. In the war against the US, he was only 19 years old. He flew for only less than 100 hours in the battle, but he shot the airplane. A very famous US pilot was shot by him. And the average age of all the crew members are only 22. They lack enough flying hours, but still, with their smooth coordination and stringent discipline, no one airplane was shot, no one was hurt. They shot 4 airplanes in the war. Very glorious history. As a young pilot, what can you learn from the history? As the new generation, the red spirit is passed on. We feel proud and honored, but we feel eager to exercise ourselves in order to fight one day in the battlefield. We have better technologies and airplanes, so we must be more skillful in order to not to fail the people and the ancestors. Our ancestors dare to put down their lives in front of the threats, and we must pass on the spirit in order to fend against all enemies. Thank you for the introduction. Here we learned something about the Air Force and the history of Air Force, and that's all for my part.